Okay, I'm back working on my 2004 Nissan Quest. We're going to be replacing the steering wheel and removing the airbag. Okay, the first thing you want to do is come out here with your 10mm and remove this negative cable, and you'll want to let this discharge for like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, I just wanted to show you the condition. This is why I'm changing this out. This is the type of condition that this is in. So the leather has, completely, it's coming loose here, and the steering wheel is just really sticky and everything. Now you could, I suppose, re-wrap one of these if you wanted to take the time and effort to do that. That's always an option. You'll also notice this part here. I don't know what it is about this top piece. It's like, I guess, the type of plastic it's made of. You can see the bottom looks fine, perfectly fine, and then the top part immediately starts peeling and cracking and everything. So it's kind of like made out of a different material. If it was the same, it would be doing the same thing here if it was just because of the sun. Now the sun's probably got something to do with it, but you can see like it would be cracking here as well, but it immediately. So we're going to be replacing this as well, and we're going to be replacing this steering wheel. Now I've got another one. It's not a tan one, but it's going to work just fine for what I need. If you're needing to replace your airbag, you can replace these really easy on this steering wheel. It's real easy to do. So this video is going to kind of cover both those things. These seem to be similar, sort of, for the Altima and Maximas, and probably other Nissans as well, through the 2004, along in those years, 2004 and up. So anyway, I said I got this steering wheel, and I went ahead and I got this shroud to go on there, and this one looks just fine, and it's going to look a lot better. I mean, it's little things like this that make a huge difference in looks. So anyways, like I said, I just got the steering wheel without the airbag. It was really cheap to get. Only cost me like $7 or $8 for this whole wheel, and I got the little shroud as well. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and work on getting this wheel here off, and like I said, this will be the sort of the procedure you'll use if you're going to be removing this airbag. You need to replace this airbag as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is come on each side, and we've got these. You can just pick these off with your fingernail. It's just a little cover, and you can look in there and see that 10mm that's inside there. And you can turn this wheel. So we got one there, and then we come over to this side, and we're going to pick that off there, and we got one up in here as well. So now we're going to go ahead and get our 10mm. I'm just using this, and it may be pretty tight, so depending on how tight it is, you could put a ratchet on there. Now you might need to use a magnet here, but it may not be necessary. Just depends on if it falls down in there. You'll just have to fish it out after you get this airbag out. So we're going to completely loosen that, and see that one fell in there. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to try to get in here with this magnet, see if I can't fish it out. And there we go. So same thing, putting this back together, you want to use a magnet to avoid dropping it and having to remove that. Okay, now so we're just coming over to this side here, and we're just going to do the same thing and just get this loosened off and completely remove this 10mm as well. And we'll also, when we put these back in, we'll put a little bit of medium Loctite. Okay, so I'm going to get my magnet and get that one out. Okay, with those two 10mm, you're now, like I said, you wait 5 or 10 minutes before you mess with any of this after disconnecting your battery. But after you remove those two, this is ready to be pulled back. And then we can get in here and get to these connections. Now this one right here is very easy to remove. Just push in right there and give that a push off. And I may need both hands because you need to push there and give it a pull at the same time, but it's I just can't get enough pull on it to get it with one hand here. Okay, so there's that, and it just clips on there. Now with these here, for our airbag, we're going to have to get a little screwdriver here, or you can use something else, a little pick tool, and you want to pull up on each of these right here. So here's my little flat screwdriver, and you want to be delicate, and you're just going to get under here, give it a little wiggle, rock it from side to side till it pops up just like that. And once it pops up, it'll come right off there. Now when you push it back on, you just kind of do it in reverse. You push on the orange part and then push that down to lock it. So we're going to do the same thing. Try to get under this. So just rock it. Be delicate so you don't break it. And then once that pops up, it'll lift right up and off of there. And so there we have that. And I said, replacing this, if you've got another one, you just do that. Just pop those back on, and your 10mm go right into these here. Now I was looking at the Ultimas and Maximas and the steering wheels through, there's a few years there, they look exactly like these, but the inside stuff is a little bit different. But I think one of those steering wheels would work if you couldn't find a Quest steering wheel. It looked to me like that the splines and everything was going to be the same, but it just was a little bit different in here. But overall the steering wheel is the same size. So anyways, we got these here loose. We're going to come ahead in here now with our little screwdriver, and we're going to push in right here and go ahead and remove this from our clock spring here. Okay, with that off there, we're ready to go ahead and get us our 18mm, I believe, on this right here. And you'll note there should be a mark in here already, but if not, you'll want to put a mark. Put you a mark on this when you take it off. Okay, so I've got my 19mm on here, and we're going to go ahead and said it may require you holding this with one hand while you break this loose because it can be pretty tight. So we'll go ahead and loosen this off. We've got our connections loose and everything. And then there's that 19mm. We'll set that aside. Now the way this, where you'll have to pull on this pretty firmly and rock it a little bit, and once you do that, you'll be able to wiggle this up and off of here. Now these are going to, you'll have the orange come through this side and the yellow come through this side as you pull this wheel off here. And this wire for the clock spring is actually supposed to be routed up through the front here, but it got turned around. So all I'm going to do now is just swap steering wheels here. I need to put these on to my other ones, which is no problem. I'm just going to remove this back here with these Torx, and I'm just going to move those over to my other steering wheel because it's more expensive the more components and stuff that you have on. So if you don't need all that stuff, then just get the steering wheel. Okay, so I used a T20 just to remove that backing, and I'm just using this one here, a T10, and I'm just going to be removing these, and this is all that holds these little accessories on, and I'm just swapping them over. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so it's that simple. We've swapped those over to this wheel. Now another reason you might want to do that is if you say get another steering wheel, depending on the model, it may or may not have these functions over here, so you'd want to use the ones that you have and swap them over. So we're done with that. We're just going to go ahead now and put this backing back onto this one. I'm using the black colored backing, so we just put those T10s in there, and we're just going to put this back on here. Now one more thing we're going to do is we're going to change this out. So before we put this steering wheel back on, we're going to remove this. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so to remove this collar, I've got a Phillips screwdriver. We're going to come underneath here. We've got 3 of these all together. I'll show you where these are at. And we're going to come under here and look, and there's the first one. And then we have one over here, and then we got one. It's way back up in there. So we're just going to go ahead and get started on these and get these removed, and then we'll move on to the next step here. Okay, and there's all 3 of those, and like I said, that back one is up in there a pretty good way, so you got to get way up in there. So with that, we're ready to go ahead and just separate this, and it should pop loose, but actually I'm getting ahead of myself. We got this handle right here, and for that we need a small tiny screwdriver. Okay, so I got a little screwdriver. We're going to look right up here. We're going to just give that a push right in there. Just give that a push while we're pulling on this, and then that'll enable us to pull that right off of there. I said just give it a good push up, and it'll pull right off, because it just goes in there and it clips on to that. So just push that, and that'll separate that. It's just got a little bump right there that catches on that. Okay, and with that piece off, I've just pulled down on this, and this is just separated. It's just got a series of plastic clips. That's all you have to do, is just give it a good pull. We're not going to be reusing that, and we're going to try to tilt this down and just wiggle this out here. Okay, so there's that out of the way, and I just pulled on this handle a little bit to give me a little slack. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and work this new collar into place here. We're going to get it on this handle and back up in here. And we'll just give that a little pull back, so this handle pulls back and allow us the slack we need to work that on. And another thing, keep this in the place that it was at when you took it off. Don't be moving this around, your clock spring. Okay, and you can see how it looks so much better already. And this is easy to put on with the steering wheel out of the way. And don't forget about this. We're going to slip this back onto here. Just give it that plastic part just pushes down enough. If you just slip it off, it's got that little bump on it. That's going to catch as you slide it on there so it doesn't come off. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and start working our steering wheel. And well, we'll go ahead and get our Phillips screws back in under here, the ones we took out. Go ahead and put those in each one of these. We've got 3 spots there, so we'll go ahead and get those in now. Okay, so we're getting ready to put the steering wheel back on now. You can see I've got a mark right there. I painted it black. It's already been stamped, but just be mindful of that mark. And there is the mark on here. So we're just going to make sure when we put this on that's going to line up. Now another thing we're going to do is go ahead and reconnect our clock spring. As we're doing this, we're going to feed that wire back through there and get that connected. Okay, and you can see how that white part lines back up this indention on this plastic piece here, so it all lines itself back up. So we got that pushed and snapped back in, and we've got our alignment mark matched up here. And so now we're going to go ahead and just take our 19mm, and this thing seems to be a self-locking, but you could put some Loctite on it if you choose to. We're going to go ahead and get our 19mm, start snugging this down. Okay, I've just got it plenty tight with my extended handle ratchet and make sure it was plenty snug. Okay, big mistake I made when putting this on, I didn't feed my orange or yellow wire, so I had to remove it again and put it back on. So make sure to get these going through. I didn't have those through, and I'd already had it fastened, so I had to wiggle it back off. It will wiggle off of here. I did not have to use a puller, and it was pretty tight this time. Okay, so just getting ready to slip this back up into place, and it's nothing to it. We're just going to get the little green ground over here on this, clip that on, and then we'll push those back onto their spots. And when you push that down, just push the orange part first, and then push the black part down and lock it. Okay, and same here, I push the yellow part down, and I'm going to push that black part down and lock it. Okay, and we're just going to make sure we got our wires out of the way, and we're just going to push it right back up into here, into place, and we'll work on getting our bolts back into the sides. Okay, I got me some medium Loctite on these. I'm just going to be using my magnet to get it started up in here so I'm not dropping it. Okay, now that I got it started with my magnet, we're going to go ahead and start snugging them down. And you definitely want to use a magnet. It'll just help prevent you from dropping it down in there and having to redo that. Okay, and there we have it. Like I said, it kind of adds a little contrast. Preferably, I'd rather had a tan one, but couldn't find one. And other than, you can get these on eBay. I've seen them on there for around $50 or so and up, just depending on whether it was just the rubber or the actual leather. And but like I said, I got this for like $7 or $8 at the salvage yard, and it couldn't really beat it to get the wheel. And I got this back here, and you can see the huge difference this has made. I mean, definitely looks a lot better than what it did. And just little things like that really add up. So said I'm happy with it. Looks a lot better than it did, and wasn't out much of anything on this, and the steering wheel doesn't feel all sticky and nasty, and very easy. So if you're needing to replace an airbag that you had deploy or whatever, very easy to do. You can go to the salvage yard, you can get those for like $40. Sometimes they run sales, you get it cheaper than that, and you just replace that out very easily. So anyways, that's going to conclude this video, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and as always, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you for watching.